still on the lines with us via Zoom is the former ECOWAS Director of Communications, Adama Gaye, and also a member of the Socialist Movement of Ghana, Kofi Henaku. They appear to have a challenge with the approach ECOWAS is using in all of this. Kofi, help us with your position. Let us understand what it is that the Socialist Movement of Ghana has a challenge with. You claim that the approach of ECOWAS is not right. How do we resolve the crisis that stares us in the face?
We of the Socialist Movement of Ghana we believe that the approach, the 2-1 is just one constitutional without dealing with the security, economic. Hello?
Well, it appears that we're having challenges with your line, but could we just try one more time? Let's understand the position of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. What's your concern with the ECOWAS approach? That's the question I was seeking answers to. We'll try working the lines again, but Adama Gaye is on with us. So we're getting the reports and details of what it is that ECOWAS's position may be at the end of the day. It's a clear signal there that, first of all, on the issues relating to Mali, ECOWAS is not willing to give the long haul to Mali to restore its democratic order. On Burkina Faso, Ghana is taking immediate steps, and it appears that ECOWAS is going to take tougher stance against some of these countries. Do you feel that these sanctions would work in any way?
No, the sanctions don't work. They have not worked in the world anywhere. That's a wrong approach to solving a protracted and deep challenge, as I said earlier. The other aspect is this. The Malians, they've never said they want to be in power for 6 years. They said it's clear in French, up to 6 years. That's a negotiating basis. And ECOWAS should have been more diplomatic and nimble in addressing this, telling the soldiers, okay, we understand that we have serious problem to fix, but we cannot allow you to be there for a long term because that will negate our approach to democratization in West Africa. Okay, for 1, 2, 3 years, we can accept that. But just outright issue those kind of sanctions, that was not the right way to go about it. In the case of Burkina Faso, from the mission that they have sent, led by the foreign minister of Ghana and the chief of army staff of Ghana, they are coming out, and the participation of Mohamed Anabis of the United Nations, who took over from Dr. Mohamed Ibn Jambas as representative of the UN Secretary General in West Africa. They have come up saying that the Burkinabe people are diplomatic. They seem to be understanding where we're coming from. So we can believe, therefore, from those utterances that they may not clamp sanction on the Burkinabe military coup makers. To the contrary, they know that this gentleman is a former soldier, Mr. Henri-Marc Sandaogo Damiba, who is the current leader of Burkina Faso. Just barely 1.5 years ago, he was deployed as a military in Mali under the MINUSMA, so the forces of the United Nations, so they can talk to him. And I think that's the approach they are having. When it comes to Guinea-Conakry, I think that they have not been talking about it much because they know that Alpha Condé made all these blunders by not respecting the term limit in power, forcing himself to entrench himself in power, and last but not least, killing people while he tried to get a fraudulent election in October 2021. Last but not least, the case of Guinea-Bissau, that is even worse, because people are saying that Mr. Embalo Sissoko, a general, has been under this attack because he was trying to fight drug traffickers and those kind of corrupt people. He is at the center, at the epicenter of those crimes. This guy was a boy of Blaise Compaoré. He didn't send to America Antonio Injai, a former chief of army staff from Guinea-Bissau, who is accused of being a drug trafficker. He didn't do anything. He said he will not relinquish him to America. And also, in the past, really, he was involved in all kinds of shenanigans with the Blaise Compaoré, dealing with the terrorists and the traffickers, corrupt people in the northern part of Africa. And now that the same thing is doing in Guinea-Conakry, but parading as a fighter against corrupt people or drug traffickers. I think this is just a public relations venture approach to cast himself as somebody who is a Democrat, when in truth, even his victory in 2019 was not very sure, because the PAIGC, the party that led Guinea-Bissau to independence in 1974, didn't accept that. There was a petition, but this general, former general, even civilian, is not always really the serious person he pretends to be.
Adama, let me take your thoughts on this. The chairperson of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State, our President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is calling for a concerted effort this time round. What's your impression about his leadership so far in handling these matters? This is not the first time he's made this call. Is it the case that he's not gaining enough support from neighboring countries in the region?
I think I know President Nana Akufo-Addo is a very sharp person intellectually. He is a decent person in my mind. But the fact is that he doesn't seem to understand what's going on here. Those people he's calling behind him, to rally behind him, to fight these insurgencies from the military. I do believe sincerely he's not getting it right, because those people he's calling are the ones who are creating the conditions for military coup to happen. Even Mr. Paul Kagame said that military coups are created by bad economic governance, by poor democratic management in our continent. So, if you want sincerely to rally around people behind you, you need to be convincing in the message to address to the West African populace. ECOWAS should stop appearing as a club of heads of states defending its members and not accepting that there are many rumbles coming up from the ordinary people who are not seeing the benefits of regional integration. ECOWAS was created in May 28, 1975 to promote, in the midst of the Cold War, economic development in West Africa. Today, less than 16% of trade in West Africa. You don't have growth in West Africa. To the contrary, there is economic recession in many of the countries in West Africa. And also you have the sanitary challenge and other security challenges. And they want to cling to power. They don't want to address the problem of the ordinary people, who will see people coming around and hailing, saluting military people, encouraging them to take over from the civilians that we see in our countries.
Adama Gaye, let me also draw your attention to this. Some experts are calling for an interventionist approach. There are calls on the likes of the big brother, Nigeria, to intervene and try as much as possible to join forces with other nations to ensure some level of stability. We've seen that in the case of the ECOMOG deployment into Liberia and Sierra Leone. What's your take on such a radical approach? Will that be helpful this time around?
This is not new. Remember, ECOMOG, the military force created for peace and stability in West Africa, was created in 1990, at the end of that year, in the footstep of the conflict emanating in the Gulf, when Saddam Hussein on August 2nd, 1990, invaded Kuwait. The world was concerned with the Gulf because of oil and other issues there. So West Africa was left to itself. And thereby, the West African leaders, ECOWAS, they were very smart by devising this ECOMOG approach during a meeting that was held in Banjul. ECOMOG intervened in Liberia, and stopped the forces of Charles Taylor from taking over the country. They were close to doing it, but the problem was that forces, when it was used, even the Liberians, they were joking about the acronym of ECOMOG. Instead of calling it the ECOWAS monitoring group, they call it everything car or movable object gone. In other terms, the forces that were deployed then turned out to be thieves in Liberia. So the war in Liberia was extended until 2003 power and the advent of new leaders, including Ellen Sirleaf Johnson. So ECOWAS tried this, but has it always worked? Not necessarily. The case of Liberia, as I mentioned, Sierra Leone, it was a success in the sense that it was done because of Nigeria's Abacha and the support of UK. Tony Blair intervened there because he had something to correct in his image. He intervened in the Second Gulf War. He wanted to redeem his image. That's why he supported ECOWAS later on in intervening in Sierra Leone. So you have also the case of Guinea-Bissau, where ECOWAS sent troops in Gambia. They sent troops there. In the Gambia, they managed to get Yahya Jammeh out of power. He accepted his defeat because electorally he was defeated. But in Guinea-Bissau, ECOWAS troops have been always there, but they have not still now fixed the problem.
I get your arguments. I get the arguments you're making. Right. And this is an era during which you served very much. We'll delve into it shortly, but let's also try and get the position of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. They've issued a statement raising concerns with the ECOWAS approach. Earlier, we're having challenges with the lines to Kofi Henako, his back. Kofi, you are making a point about your concerns with this approach that ECOWAS is adopting. Kofi's line appears to still have some challenges, but let's move on now and talk about foreign involvement. It's one of the greatest concerns, Adama Gaye, and I'm sure that you know about this. Let's wrap up the conversation on that. There are concerns that if you look at the trend of interventionism that we're seeing, or perhaps the military takeover, I should say, this is also happening because of the failure of the external forces to support these developing countries in West Africa. What's your take on inviting the world out there to support West Africa to ensure some level of stability in the region?
It begins at home. You don't count on other people to come and fix your problem. And also, you have seen the world getting less and less interested in these type of international forces. Even America, when they intervened in Afghanistan in 2001, they stayed there until recently they had to withdraw because they failed. Same intervention in Iraq, they failed. Currently in Ukraine, about engaging into conflict. Do you expect them to come to rescue of West Africa? I don't think so. Currently, even the European Union is discussing the possibility of withdrawing its forces, the Takuba forces, from Mali, because they realize that this is somehow a new colonial ploy by France, trying to bring other external forces to support it in order to subjugate the countries that it doesn't have the means to control this because of its own financial and economic and political standing in world affairs today. So I do believe if we want to fix these problems, we need to go back to the basics. We need to acknowledge that as long as our countries are not governed with proper leaders who are concerned with the collective interests and not with privatizing the resources or controlling the legitimacy of violence that is given to the state, as argued by some political scientists, if that is not stopped and people are better managed, I think we'll continue to have this problem. And foreign forces, if you invite them, you run the risk of having, unfortunately, our countries ending up being recolonized. You invite them, you never know the outcome. So we have to be very careful about it. Let's have a serious conversation, and I call for a convening of an African convention to discuss what are the problems, why this is happening, because this is not something that is sui generis. It doesn't come like that overnight. It came about because, unfortunately, in all the countries that are concerned, the leadership was poor, and it was selfish, it was privatized, it was a rentier form of leadership, and that led to this situation that we are seeing. Your country in Ghana, you have had it. You had to make an effort in the mid-1990s, early 1990s, towards serious democratization. That's why Ghana today is a country that is more stable and is more open to democratization, despite some of the frauds and other challenges that you have. But if we don't have that kind of conversation to restart afresh, whether in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Senegal, in Cote d'Ivoire, you have all these problems brewing, you have to address them. Don't count on other forces, and particularly don't count for the United Nations, because you will be inviting tourists who will be taking advantage of our country.
Adama Gaye, we're grateful for your time.